Good morning, Malacañang Press Corps. Happy Easter to all. I hope you all enjoyed your long weekend and had a meaningful Holy Week. So welcome to our press briefing today, April 11. To start the week, the President, Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., led a sectoral meeting this morning para pag-usapan ang accomplishments ng Department of Transportation from June 2022 and the projects to be completed bago ang ikalawang State of the Nation address of the President this year. Pinag-usapan din ang continued recognition of the European Union sa Philippines' standards of training, certification, and watchkeeping for seafarers or STCW. And to tell us more about this, kasama natin ngayon sina DOTr Secretary Jaime Bautista, Chairperson Prospero de Vera, and Marina Administrator Hernani Fabia. Let's start with Secretary Bautista.
Good morning, Daphne. Good morning, Chairman de Vera. Good morning, Marina Administrator Fabia. No? This morning, we had a sectoral meeting with the President, and we reported to him the continuous recognition by the European Union of the certificate for seafarers issued by MARINA. No? And the President acknowledged the good gesture and good decision of the European Union, because that would mean continuous employment for around 50,000 seafarers in Europe. No? We also talk about how we will move forward, no? Considering that there are still some issues that we need to address. No? And here with us, Chairman de Vera and Administrator Fabia had also given their inputs on how to move forward. No? So maybe we can ask Attorney Fabia and Chairman de Vera how we will be able to sustain the continued recognition of the certificates issued by the Philippine government to our seafarers, especially those working in European Union countries.
Okay. Thank you, Sir Secretary Bautista. First, I would like to clarify that the recognition of the Philippine government by the European Commission is a normal recognition. That means there is no condition, it is not a gray matter. It is a regular recognition issued by EC. And we have a clean slate to start with. Okay. But then, the recognition is valid only, not valid. The recognition is good for 10 years, subject to reassessment and monitoring by the EMSA. So that's why we have also to conduct regular trainings and capacity building for our stakeholders and our marine personnel.
Yeah, in behalf of the Commission, we are both happy and relieved that after 16 years, the EU has taken note of our compliance with the observations. And we thank the leadership of President Marcos, who took this up in 2 cabinet meetings and gave instructions to all the agencies to really push for the compliance. And of course, Secretary Bautista and DOTr for working together with CHED. This is really a team effort because this problem has been there for so long. And with the recognition of EU of our efforts, we assure continued employment for our 50,000 seafarers in EU ships. No? And there are observations that still need to be complied with, and the Commission will work with MARINA and DOTr to make sure all the identified observations will be resolved as soon as possible. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we'll open the floor. First question, Maricel Halili, TV5.
Hi, sir. Good morning po. Secretary Bautista mentioned earlier that there are still some issues that we need to address. Can you elaborate on that? Ano-ano po yung mga issues na kailangan pang i-address following yung recognition pa po ng EU?
Okay. It was specified here in the letter that there are 6 issues like monitoring, supervision, and evaluation of manning and training and assessment, examination and assessment of competence, programs and courses design and approval, availability and use of training facilities and simulators, onboard training and issue, revalidation and recognition of certification and endorsements. If I may add, these issues that we are going to improve is also a topic or the concern or its findings as stated by the individual independent evaluators. As of now, there are the Philippines has 2 audits or inspection or evaluation. One is for the European Union or European Commission, and the other one is for the continuous Philippine inclusion in the whitelist, IMO whitelist. In the European Commission, there are at least 27 countries involved. In the IMO, considered whitelist, there are 167 countries that will decide for our inclusion. So, we have already submitted to the IMO. And the items that I mentioned earlier were already addressed, and in fact, we have done it already. Okay.
Just to answer Maricel's question, several very basic things. Number one, we have an enhanced curriculum that has been put together by MARINA, CHED, and the Maritime higher education institutions. We must make sure it is implemented correctly. So the enhanced curriculum satisfies compliance with standards of the STCW. Number two, we must be able to monitor all the maritime schools, not just in implementing the curriculum, but making sure they have the equipment that is necessary, they have competent teachers, they have good facilities, so that the intended competencies and outcomes can be measured correctly and satisfy the standards of EMSA. That means we have a lot of work to do in monitoring and evaluating all the maritime education institutions in the country. We have to monitor all of them and use instruments of monitoring and evaluation that satisfies not just our standards in the Philippines, but standards of the EU. Now, that monitoring instrument has to be developed and improved. And number three, we must make sure that all the requirements to produce a good seafarer are there, including on-board or shipboard training, so that we make sure at the end of the whole process, we produce seafarers that are up to the standards, international standards. It's a lot of work because we have a lot of maritime education institutions, and this has to be a joint effort of MARINA, CHED. We've put the Coast Guard also as our partner because they're located all over the country, and you have to go to each institution and evaluate them. So we are thankful that the EU has promised, as Secretary Bautista had said, that they will give grants to assist us to comply. And one of the things that we will propose, or we will propose on the part of CHED, is to develop monitoring and evaluation instruments that satisfy international standards. And we train those who will do the evaluation and monitoring. We have to meet with the universities or the maritime schools to make sure they understand what is being monitored, so they will give the correct document so that they will be open to being evaluated. This has to be an effort of everyone in the community, all the stakeholders. This is not just the job of one government agency.
Okay, Eden Santos, Net 25.
Sir, good morning po. On the part of the universities and other na involved dito sa seafaring industry, ang sinasabi po nila parang nakakapag-comply naman sila doon sa mga hinihingi. But the problem is, mukhang nagkakaroon po ng problema sa mga implementing agencies. Hindi nila alam kung alin ba nagawa na nila to, tapos biglang another issue na naman. Kaya para pong nalilito din sila. At saka sinasabi nila parang ano ba to, another gastos, pinagkakaperahan lang sila, something like that. Is it true?
Well, that is not completely true because we closed down 15 maritime programs already. If it's true that everyone is compliant with standards, then we should not have been able to close 15 maritime programs. We're very strict. The technical panel and our technical evaluators have gone through the programs, and we've closed 15 over the past year and a half. So there are programs that are non-compliant.
Are there more institutions po na hindi pa rin nakakasunod or nakakapag-comply doon sa hinihinging standard ng EU?
We will wait for the round of evaluations. I don't know. We'll have to wait after DOTr, MARINA, we go through the schools again, and we will find out whether all the schools are compliant. Mahirap kasi i-evaluate lahat. Marami masyado.
So, yung pong pinaka-directive ngayon ng Pangulo para naman po maka-comply tayo sa standard ng EU ay paano po yung ating gagawin upang after 10 years, hindi na po mangamba ulit yung ating seafarers, baka biglang ma-blacklist na naman ang Pilipinas sa European
Hindi na dapat umabot ng 10 years. Ang pangako namin sa Pangulo ay agad-agad na tututukan lahat ng natitirang non-compliance at gagawing compliant as fast as we can.
Ivan Mayrina, GMA 7.
Sirs, may I ask what interventions, programs, measures are we going to put in place or have put in place to make sure that we don't find ourselves in this same situation na nanganganib po o manganganib yung trabaho ng mga 50,000 or more seafarers na Pilipino sa mga European flag vessels?
Marami. Number one, we have a very good working relationship with MARINA now. I think if there is one big difference between now and before, is that in everything that we do, it is a joint effort. The technical panel on maritime education is chaired by MARINA. And we defer to the expertise of MARINA, especially on equipment, especially on standards, and everything that we do is joint. Hindi masyadong ganyan dati. So that's a big difference. Because if you don't agree on many things, you lose a lot of time, arguing between the two of you. Ngayon, maganda yung samahan. Ikalawa, we already declared a 5-year moratorium on new programs. Ibig sabihin, for the next 5 years, starting when we declared it last year, we will not allow any new maritime programs to be opened so that we will be able to focus on evaluating the existing programs. Mahirap kasi kung wala kang moratorium, habang ini-evaluate mo yung existing, nag-evaluate ka din ng bago, parang walang katapusan yan. This is the first time that we declared a moratorium on maritime education in the whole history of maritime education. That shows our seriousness on the part of CHED and MARINA that we want to really look at all the programs. So that is to give us sufficient time to do the the evaluation. Number three, doon sa part ng CHED, we already commissioned the Center for Educational Management to craft a assessment test that we can use, or that the higher education institutions can use, to better assess the preparedness of students who will go into maritime programs. Gagawa tayo ng parang assessment tool to guide them, no? Para yung pumapasok ng mga estudyante mas fit doon sa kanilang pupuntahan, no? So we expect that yung Center for Educational Management is the one that also does the NMAT in medicine. So they're very good, no? We want to make sure the assessment abides with international standards. So we're helping the higher education institutions having maritime education to prepare better for their maritime programs.
Salamat po.
Left Narciso, DZRH.
Sir, may regular monitoring po ba kayo dito sa maritime schools? Kasi sabi niyo nga, buong bansa ito, so medyo challenging. Tuwing kailan niyo po ginagawa?
Whole year round. Kailangan namin dagdag na tao kasi marami. That's why kami ni Secretary Bautista will have to look for additional allies to help monitor compliance. Kasi hindi naman ganun kadami ang staff ng CHED, hindi rin ganun kadami ang staff ng MARINA, and the schools are located all over the country.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, Pia Gutierrez, ABS-CBN.
Hi, sir. Sir, in a statement, si Senator Grace po is pushing for a continuous skills training for seafarers. Is there a existing program for it, or also is this possible also as part of yung dun sa ating as part of efforts to step up yung industry?
Yeah, we have the upskilling and reskilling of our seafarers in preparation for the decarbonization, and also those with greenhouse gas effects. Those are matters that need to be upskilled or reskilled, because sooner or later all ships must be decarbonized. So for that purpose, the best venue for that, for retraining, would be the National Maritime Polytechnic. The National Maritime Polytechnic was established way back in 2000, first quarter of 2000, under the Department of DOLE, because during that time, DOLE was in charge of STCW compliance. So the facilities in NMP is really suited for upskilling and reskilling of our seafarers, for the training of our maritime trainers and educators, and for maritime research. Just as it's being done in other countries, that they have the maritime research and development division unit. Unfortunately, it was included in the transfer from DOL to the DMW. So it's under now the DMW. So we have to talk to the DMW if they are not. We have to have the NMP. It is for best suited for our purposes, maritime education.
On the part of CHED, we are assisting the faculty members in the maritime schools. No? On the training side, it's MARINA who is responsible, but we have what we call in CHED Project ACE. This is Advancing Competencies for Excellence. It's a program that we have launched for faculty members, course developers to gain additional knowledge and skills in designing programs, upgrading their capability, and developing manuals that the faculty members will use to improve their teaching in the maritime schools.
Okay. Microphone, please. Go ahead.
Hi po, this question is for Mr. Hernani Fabia sa Marina. Sir, other topic po sana. Sir, sabi niyo before na may fact-finding, sabi ng Marina before na may fact-finding committee sa MT Princess Empress regarding dun sa claims na newly constructed siya. May update po ba regarding dito?
No, we have created a fact-finding team to do that, and until now they haven't reported because there are three. The fact-finding thing was to go to Region 5, which is in Sorsogon and Bicol. He has to go to the NCR and then get to the Batangas Region 4. They have also to visit the shipyards that supposedly constructed them. So we have to validate.
Kailan po kaya yung tinitingnan natin na time frame dito? Ilang months?
No, not months. Maybe middle of this month or like late of this month, we will have the result of the fact-finding team.
Pero so far ngayon, sir, yung may mga raw details po kaya tayo na makaka-help dun sa fact-finding committee natin?
Wag muna, I would suggest we have to wait. See, there are so many information not verified. So, I don't want to add more misinformation.
Thank you. Alvin Baltasar, PBS.
Magandang umaga po, sirs. I would like to address my question kay Secretary Bautista. Secretary, sabi niyo po kanina, napag-usapan sa pulong kanina, yung mga projects na kinakailangang ihabol sa darating na SONA. Ilan po kaya ito yung mga inihahabol bago yung State of the Nation Address? At can you name a few, sir? Para hindi naman,
Well, we have reported to the President our projects that can be completed before the SONA, and most of these are aviation and road sector projects, and maritime projects. We're looking at completing airport maintenance around 18 airports in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Must be completed. The projects will be completed by June. We also reported ports that will be completed before June, around 20 of these. And of course, road sector projects, which will include construction of mga bike lanes. And there are more projects, for example, in the rail sector. We have reported finalization of different contract packages for the North-South Commuter Railway, also contract packages that we signed for the Metro Manila Subway. And also we reported developments as far as the completion of some railway projects, like, for example, yung MRT-7, which we expect to be completed by June of 2025. Also, the extension of LRT-1 from Baclaran to Sucat, which we expect to be completed by 2024. So these are more projects on aviation, maritime, road sector, and rails.
Okay, so thank you on the updates. For the updates in the maritime sector and President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s priority concern for seafarers, of course, the Philippines being one of the top suppliers of marine labor in the world. So thank you, Secretary Jaime Bautista, Chairperson Prospero de Vera, and Marina Administrator Hernani Fabia. Thank you, Malacañang Press Corps. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.